Welcome back to Scruff Tough, produced for Get It Off Your Chest Media. I'm your host, Jenna Murray, and today we're diving into the fog of war.
What you just saw there was an Iranian ballistic missile with a cluster warhead, those bomblets raining down on Israel's second largest city of Tel Aviv. This came after the ceasefire was announced by President Trump and an indication that it will take time to get this agreement in place.
The skies over Iran are thick with more than just smoke, they're thick with contradictions. As of April 2026, Tehran is taking a victory lap, claiming the IRGC has downed 2 U.S. F-35 stealth fighters, the first on March 19th and another just days ago on April 3rd.
Iran, you've made bold claims that your forces have shot down another US F-35 stealth fighter over your territory, and images are circulating online that you say prove it. Let's be absolutely clear. These assertions remain unverified by independent sources, and the United States has not confirmed that any F-35 has been downed. Even as pictures spread and narratives take shape, serious questions remain about what actually happened.
They say every bird is accounted for. But if you ask the White House, the story changes. President Trump is dismissing the down narrative, while Central Command admits one F-35 took fire but insists it made a controlled emergency landing.
We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us.
In claiming that one more US F-35 jet has been shot down. Now, spokesperson of Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters has put out a second US fifth generation F-35 has been struck. It has been downed over central Iran, and this has been done by the new IRGC Airspace Force Air Defense System. So more details have been coming to fore, and this is the F-35. This is in fact been put out as a proof that this is the second F-35 that has been downed, and this is the spokesperson of Khatam al-Anbiya. He's gone on to mention that this is the second fifth generation F-35. It has been struck and it has been downed, and these are the remains of that jet. And there you can see the markers also. F-35 that so far has been in fact touted to be evading any kind of radar.
Then you've got Scott Ritter, the former weapons inspector, offering a starkly different breakdown of regional capabilities compared to the official Washington line.
40 F-35s gone. Not in a dogfight, not in a daring raid over enemy airspace, destroyed on the ground, inside hardened shelters before a single Israeli pilot could strap in, and it happened in 30 minutes flat. Let that sink in, because what I'm about to walk you through isn't speculation. It isn't analysis filtered through some Pentagon press briefing, and it sure as hell isn't the sanitized version you're going to get from CNN or Fox. This is what actually happened at Nevatim Air Base, and by the time I'm done, you will understand why the geopolitical map of the Middle East, the one that Washington spent 50 years and trillions of dollars drawing, was redrawn in fire and smoke before the sun came up over the Negev desert. I've spent decades studying weapons systems, military doctrine, and intelligence tradecraft, first as a Marine Corps intelligence officer, then as a UN weapons inspector who stood inside facilities that governments swore didn't exist. I know what a real strategic shift looks like. I've watched them happen in real time, and I've watched governments lie about them in real time. What happened at Nevatim is one of the most consequential military events of the 21st century, and the fact that Western media is still fumbling to characterize it tells you everything you need to know about how badly it has shattered the assumptions that hold their entire worldview together. Let me be clear from the start. This wasn't a lucky strike. This wasn't Iranian bluster accidentally connecting with a target. This was the result of years of systematic intelligence collection, precision engineering developed entirely under sanctions, and a strike doctrine specifically designed to defeat the layered air defense architecture that Israel and the United States spent decades and billions of dollars constructing. When you understand all three of those elements together, you stop being surprised by the result. You start being terrified by the implications. To understand the magnitude of what happened, you first have to understand what Nevatim Air Base actually represents in Israel's strategic architecture. This isn't a forward operating strip somewhere in the Sinai. Nevatim is the crown jewel of Israeli air power, the nerve center, the launch pad, the irreplaceable hub from which Israel has projected lethal force across the entire region for years. Every significant Israeli strike into Syria, every hit on Hezbollah's weapons infrastructure, every deep penetration mission against Iranian-linked targets, they all originated from Nevatim. The base doesn't just house aircraft, it houses Israel's offensive doctrine made physical. Destroy Nevatim's flight line, and you don't just destroy planes, you destroy Israel's ability to reach out and touch its enemies at the time and place of its choosing. Iran understood that perfectly, and they planned accordingly. The F-35 Adir, that's what Israel calls its variant, isn't just a fighter jet. In the context of Middle Eastern air power, it's a statement. Each airframe costs well over $100 million, and that price tag buys you the most sophisticated sensor fusion package ever put in a tactical aircraft, radar evading coatings that make it effectively invisible to most air defense radars, and a networked warfare capability that lets a single pilot serve as a flying command node for an entire strike package. Washington didn't sell Israel these jets as equipment. Washington sold them as a guarantee, a 30-year insurance policy on Israeli air supremacy that was supposed to make any adversary in the region think twice, 3 times, and then stand down. 40 of them destroyed on the ground in 30 minutes is not just a military loss. It is the cancellation of that guarantee written in the wreckage of $4 billion worth of American engineering. Now stay with me here, because the how of this attack is where everything gets profoundly uncomfortable for the people who've been dismissing Iran's military capabilities for the past 2 decades. The strike began at 2:17 in the morning local time, and that timing was not arbitrary. Iranian planners had done their homework, not over weeks, but over years. Having worked in intelligence myself, I can tell you that the kind of operational picture Iran built on Israeli air defense rotations, radar coverage gaps, and command center staffing patterns at Aero 200 hours doesn't come from one source. It comes from layered, patient, persistent intelligence collection, electronic intercepts, drone surveillance at altitudes and distances that don't trigger alarms, and human intelligence networks that Western analysts consistently underestimate because acknowledging them would require acknowledging that Iran's intelligence apparatus is genuinely world-class. It is. And the attack that kicked off at 2:17 proved it beyond any reasonable argument. The opening move was a saturation wave of low observable decoy drones launched from multiple vectors simultaneously. Now, when I say saturation, I want you to understand what that word means in practical air defense terms. Iron Dome, David's Sling, and the Arrow system, Israel's layered defense architecture, are not infinitely capable. Every battery has a finite number of interceptor missiles. Every radar has a finite processing capacity. Every command system has a finite number of tracks it can handle simultaneously before the software starts making triage decisions about which threats get addressed and which ones get queued. Iranian planners knew the exact thresholds. They had calculated them, and they deliberately flooded the radar picture with enough decoys to push every battery past those thresholds simultaneously. The technical term is saturation paralysis. The practical result is that Iron Dome's engagement computers were essentially chasing phantoms while the real weapons were already descending. The fast 360 salvos came in from 2 directions at once, from western Iran and from mobile launchers that had been pre-positioned in Iraqi territory, using approach angles that exploited gaps in Israeli radar coverage that the IDF thought were theoretical vulnerabilities, not operational ones. The salvos were organized into packets of 8 to 12 missiles each, every packet assigned to a specific hardened shelter at Nevatim. The entire barrage, from first impact to final detonation, was compressed into under 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Israel's internal alert system was still cycling through its warning protocols when the second and third waves were already in terminal descent. And here's the detail that I want you to hold on to, because this is the part that tells you everything about the intelligence penetration Iran achieved. At the exact same moment Nevatim was being hammered, a separate strike package hit Ramon Air Base in the southern Negev. Ramon was where Israel had quietly relocated a reserve batch of F-35s as a contingency, a dispersal move designed precisely to ensure that no single strike could take out the entire fleet. It's standard doctrine. It's what any competent Air Force does when it believes an attack is possible. The problem is that Iran knew. They knew the dispersal locations. They knew the exact shelter assignments at Ramon, and they hit them with the same terminal accuracy they achieved at Nevatim. The crater patterns confirm it. The IDF hasn't admitted it publicly, but the craters don't negotiate with official statements. By 2:47 in the morning, 30 minutes after the first launch, the damage assessment reaching IDF headquarters was so catastrophic that senior officers initially refused to accept the numbers.